You've already made at least one of these mistakes this month. You just don't know it yet because the damage doesn't show up until July, when the harvest comes up short and everything looked completely fine in May. 7 mistakes, all of them invisible right now, all of them already in motion. The first one catches more experienced gardeners than beginners because it feels like exactly the right move. Planting by the calendar instead of the soil temperature is how most May gardens get quietly sabotaged before anything looks wrong. Memorial Day weekend has become the unofficial planting date for half the country, and it makes sense on the surface. The frost dates have passed, the days are warm, and everything feels ready. But air temperature and soil temperature are two completely different numbers, and in a cool May, they can be 5 to 10 degrees apart. Seeds dropped into cold soil don't germinate on schedule. They sit there and wait, or they rot before anything appears. Transplants put into cold soil don't take off, they stall, and the gardener assumes the plant is getting established when it's actually doing nothing at all. By the time the soil warms up and growth finally starts, 2 to 3 weeks of prime growing season are already gone. A soil thermometer pushed 3 inches into the ground tells you more about when to plant than any calendar ever will. Don't plant warm season crops until that number is consistently at 60 degrees or above. And don't guess, check it. The second mistake comes directly from the first one, and it affects the one crop most gardens are built around. Tomatoes planted into cold soil don't grow. They sit and wait for conditions to improve, and most gardeners have no idea this is happening because the plant looks alive, the leaves stay green, and nothing appears wrong from the outside. What's actually happening is that the root system is sitting in cold ground, unable to take up nutrients or water efficiently, while the gardener feels ahead of schedule. Then a neighbor plants their tomatoes 2 weeks later into genuinely warm soil, and by mid-July that neighbor has ripe fruit, and yours are still catching up. The damage from early planting isn't visible in May. It shows up as a shortened harvest window at the back end of the season, when the fruit should be at its heaviest and most productive. That lost time at the end is the direct cost of the extra 2 weeks at the start. Late May, with the soil that has warmed, is when tomato transplants take off fast and build the deep root structure that carries them through the heat of summer. Rushing that by 2 weeks to feel productive costs more than it gains every single time, and the harvest numbers in August will prove it. The third mistake sounds too basic to actually be a problem, until you realize how many gardeners get it exactly backwards every single year. Some crops go directly into the ground from seed, and some crops go in as transplants, and mixing those two categories up quietly destroys the harvest before anything looks wrong on the surface. Beans and corn both need to go directly into the ground. Their root systems develop in a specific way from the moment the seed opens, and disturbing that process by starting them indoors and transplanting them later causes root damage the plant never fully recovers from. You'll still get beans and corn, but the yield will be noticeably lower than it should be, and you'll spend the season wondering what went wrong. On the other side, starting tomatoes or peppers from seed directly in the ground in May doesn't give those crops enough warm season to reach full production before the cold arrives. They need the head start that a transplant provides. The mistake costs yield either way: too much root disruption on the direct sow crops or not enough season on the transplant crops. Knowing which category each crop belongs to before anything goes in the ground is one of those things that looks obvious in hindsight and costs a full season to learn the hard way. The fourth mistake is the one that feels most like success right when it's happening. Planting everything in one weekend feels productive and satisfying, and for most of May it looks like the right call. The garden is full, the seeds are in, the transplants are settled, and the hardest part feels over. Then one cold night arrives, the kind that May is fully capable of producing even after the last frost date, and it takes out a significant portion of what just went in the ground. Cold-sensitive crops like tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and beans can be damaged or killed by a single night in the low 40s, and May has plenty of those nights available. Losing one planting weekend to a cold snap is frustrating but recoverable. Losing an entire garden because everything went in at once is a much harder situation to come back from. Staggering plantings by 5 to 7 days between rounds doesn't feel as satisfying as one big push, but it means a single weather event can only take out part of the garden instead of all of it. The gardeners who split their planting into 2 or 3 rounds across May consistently end up with better overall production than the ones who do it all at once, because at least some of their crops survive whatever May decides to deliver. The fifth mistake is invisible in May and obvious by July, and by the time it's obvious, there's nothing left to do about it. Ignoring spacing because the plants look small is how a May garden turns into an overcrowded wall of leaves by midsummer. A tomato transplant in May is 8 inches tall with a few sets of leaves, and the spacing requirements, 18 inches, 24 inches, and 3 feet, seem wildly excessive for something that small. So gardeners compress the spacing to fit more plants in, and for the first 6 weeks everything looks fine. Then July arrives, the plants hit their full size, and suddenly Every bed is a dense mass of overlapping foliage with no airflow between plants. No airflow in summer heat is where powdery mildew starts, where fungal disease spreads from one plant to the next, and where yields collapse because the plants are competing for the same light, water, and nutrients. The crowded plants produce less than a properly spaced garden with fewer plants would have, and the disease pressure means even that reduced harvest is at risk. Respecting the spacing requirements in May, even when they look like overkill, is one of the highest return decisions you can make for your July and August harvest. More space per plant in May means more food per plant in summer. Every time. The sixth mistake trips up gardeners who are paying close attention, which makes it more frustrating than the ones caused by carelessness. Watering on a fixed schedule instead of reading the soil is a problem that May's unpredictable weather creates specifically. May can deliver a cool, wet 10-day stretch, followed immediately by the first genuinely hot week of the year. And a gardener watering on a fixed schedule of every 2 days is going to overwater during the cool stretch and underwater during the heat spike. Overwatering in cool weather promotes root rot and fungal issues in the soil before plants are even fully established. Underwatering during the first heat spike stresses plants at a critical point in their development, when the root system is still getting established and has the least capacity to handle drought. Stressed plants at that stage redirect energy away from fruit production and toward survival, and that shift shows up as reduced yield weeks later when the harvest should be coming in. Checking the soil moisture by pushing a finger 2 inches into the ground before every watering session takes 30 seconds and tells you everything the calendar never will. If the soil is still damp at 2 inches, don't water. If it's dry, water deeply and thoroughly rather than a shallow pass across the surface. Deep watering pushes roots downward where the soil stays cooler and holds moisture longer, and that deeper root system is what gets your plants through the first heat spike of the season without stalling. The last mistake on this list happens in the final 10 minutes before a transplant goes in the ground, and it's the one step most gardeners skip because it feels optional. Skipping the hardening off process with transplants is how a healthy seedling gets destroyed in a single afternoon. A plant that has been growing under indoor lights or in a greenhouse has never experienced direct outdoor sun, wind, or fluctuating temperatures, and putting it straight into a May garden without a transition period is a significant shock to the plant's system. The leaves bleach out and develop pale patches within the first day. The plant wilts even when the soil is moist, and growth stops entirely while the plant redirects everything toward recovering from the stress. That recovery period typically takes 1 to 2 weeks, which means the transplant that went in ahead of schedule is actually behind the schedule of a plant that was properly hardened off first. Hardening off means setting the transplant outside in a sheltered spot for a few hours on the first day, increasing the outdoor time over 7 to 10 days until the plant can handle a full day of direct sun without any sign of stress. It's the step that feels unnecessary when you're eager to get things in the ground, and it's the step that costs you the most time when you skip it. If you want the full breakdown on exactly how to do it correctly, I've already made a dedicated video on hardening off. It's linked right here, and it covers every step in detail. 7 mistakes, all of them invisible in May, all of them showing up in August as harvests that came up short. The calendar said May was the safe month, the plants looked fine, and somewhere in between the season slipped away. That's not bad luck. That's timing, and the timing either works in your favor or against you depending on what you did in May. Get these 7 things right and the whole summer changes. If this helped you think about your garden differently, hit subscribe. There's a new video every week, and everything I use to run my own garden, soil, fertilizer, and raised beds, is all linked in my Amazon store in the description below. I've got everything you need to start your garden right.